Now, obviously, you two shared a dressing room at West Ham, and I was interested to read the story this week when you were speaking to other media outlets, which I'll just about forgive you for. But it was about you two not talking to each other when you played for England, having been mates when you were barrelling around East London as young lads. Just explain from both of your perspectives sort of how this first began. Where did the seed first start?
Mine was that we were both at West Ham, came through, done everything together, room together,
Proper
travelled
mates.
everywhere. Proper mates from like 14, 15 years old, done everything. And then I left and went to Leeds and eventually Manchester United, and Frank went to Chelsea. And really around that time, we just kind of, our communication just kind of just disintegrated. And it was down to really, from my perspective, and Frank will give you his after, but the obsession with winning. I didn't want to see Frank have an edge on me. I didn't want to speak to him about anything that he might be able to take away and use to facilitate his team winning, etc. And it just became an unwritten kind of conduct, really. And it was the same with Stevie. When I was with England, Stevie, when we was battling for them for the Premier League, I didn't want to really sit around him and be around him because I just didn't want to hear what Liverpool was doing. It's a fact, he was. And I know he felt the same about me, it's a fact.
No, he didn't. He loved being with you. He didn't know why he never spoke to him.
We're pals, we're friends.
I didn't want to sit by. Did Fergie tell you can't speak to anyone?
No, he used to say, don't go, full stop. We've got a big game Saturday.
But I'm an England fan, and I'm sitting at home thinking, this is brilliant. This is the golden generation. These lads love each other. They play together. They can't wait to go and win a World Cup together.
I think that's what held us
back. But it sounds like what you're saying is you were putting club above country because you were so bothered about winning for your club. And I'm watching you thinking, can you win for the country?
But it was subconsciously. It wasn't like at the forefront of our minds going, whatever happens in England, I don't care. This is about Manchester United, Chelsea, Liverpool. It's like I didn't mean it. It's looking back retrospectively now. This is how I see it was.
That's what we want now, isn't it? To take on the club that you play for. I certainly felt it at Chelsea. Stevie, obviously, at Liverpool, Mr. Liverpool. Rio, the same, took on Manchester United. You feel so passionately about the club you play with, your teammates, your own performance and yourself, that to be a bit pally with someone down the road who you're competitive with.
But didn't that hold back England?
It may have done. I think Rio's right. I think we sat. We didn't hate each other. We went, but by nature we would sit on tables and stick together slightly. A lot of other nations have players playing all over the world. Then they come back together and they don't have that competitive. Every week we were at each other in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, I think it was more of respectful relationships around England rather than a bond, rather than the closeness where there was love there. When I speak to other international players when I played, like you could see in yours and stuff, they can't wait to go away with Brazil. It's the best 10 days of their season, if you like. Whereas you didn't really get that feeling when you went away with England. You were looking forward to the games, but everything else around the games was a bit like that.
Isn't that something we have to try and change?
Have to improve it, have to change it. I think the bond and the spirit and the togetherness and the closeness has to improve. I think Gareth's trying to do that, and I think it will definitely help results on the pitch because, as Rio said, I think possibly it did have an effect on how well we did. Having saying that, we got to the quarter-finals of competitions and we're that close on penalty shootouts. I'm sure the fans would take that now.
Sure.
Yeah,
exactly.
So but you sort of wonder if you had that amazing bond, maybe that would have been the little bit you needed.
What's the difference with this generation coming through now is that they're winning trophies together.
That's it.
From 17 years old, they're winning trophies together. So they've created that bond from now. So that will carry on throughout their senior years as well. Hopefully they all come through together. Like, I look at Spain. David De Gea's era, and just before that with Iniesta, they were doing well with their youth teams. Under 21s go straight into the first team. They've carried that through. Germany exactly the same. Hopefully, we're now at the beginning of that cycle here with England.
But we have to stop this thing happening again, though, don't we? This sort of little tweaks and
You'll
sets.
find it hard to take it away. The basics, I think, of what Rio said of when you're playing week in, week out for your club. To be pally, it can happen, but I understand exactly what you're saying. I felt the same. We didn't ever speak about it, just the way it went.
Yeah, it was weird.
Did the
managers try and do anything about it? Capello or Sven, did they see what was going on? And
as Rio said, he wasn't even aware of it, so I'm not sure the managers would have picked up on it because they just see it at meal times and you're chatting together and you're out together. But it could have definitely been better and more together.
The only thing they did try and do was the tables situation. We used to get like 4 or 5 tables. You'd have a Man United table, you'd have a Liverpool and other table, you'd have a Shearer and his table. Do you know what I mean? And it was different, it was weird. And so what they done was made it one table, didn't they, at the dinner times? Every lunch, breakfast and dinner, it was one big table.
Man United end.
Man United end. So you worked your way around it, just different tables. But I don't know, would you change it? I don't know. It's difficult. We'd love to have all. I'd love to have won with England, obviously. but to the detriment of winning for your club as well, it's a hard one.
It's a piece of the puzzle, isn't it? It's one thing. There are loads of reasons why it didn't quite come right, as Stephen said. We got to quarter-finals, but hopefully this new generation coming through as a block, they will have that bond stronger than maybe we did.